Hello friends, and welcome to your virtual art class. I'm super excited about today's lesson because we are really going to be putting on our imagination caps and our thinking caps as we use our hands to create animals. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, Miss Krista, we're always using our hands to draw. So it's not like anything revolutionary. Well, today we're actually going to be using our hands as a tool not only to draw with, but also create the actual animals. We've all seen the little hand puppets and stuff behind maybe shadows. You can see like things that might look like a dog or a dinosaur. Well, today I'm going to show you how you can trace around your palm and turn them into something really interesting. I'm also going to attach some videos that I found. They go a little bit fast, but you can stop and pause them to see how to draw some different animals that are maybe a little more advanced. The ones I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you step by step, so you can stop and pause them very easily, and you can see what is going on. Now, let's start by getting ready to be creative by saying our mantra. I am an artist. I create with my heart. I create with my head. I create with my hands. I can create anything. All right, today you are going to need some paper and something to draw with. I'm drawing with a Sharpie because I want you to be able to see my lines. You can draw with a pencil, you can draw with a crayon, you can draw with a Crayola marker, a colored pencil, whatever you'd like to draw with. It's totally up to you. But let's get started. All right. So what I have here is a picture that I've already started and that I'm working on. And you can see that how it's finished. I used my Sharpie marker to draw with. I used Crayola markers to color things in, and I use crayons to color in the background. Now, one thing I really want to try to emphasize with you today, friends, is I want us to try to use a dark marker to make our outlines. When I was looking at your winter dogs and cats, one thing I noticed is that sometimes we did this beautiful, beautiful drawing, but then it got kind of lost when we did the coloring because we didn't go over the drawing with a darker material. So I really want us to try to get into the habit of making our things really stand out by using a darker color to give them some more oomph or more emphasis. All right? So you can see my dog and you can kind of see how I drew it. So let's get this party started. I have my piece of paper here and put that over there. What I'm going to show you is just how to draw the animal. When you want to create the background, I'm going to leave that up to you. But I'm just going to show you the basics of drawing your animal. So I'm going to have a nice tight hand, like I'm just maybe going to shake someone's hand, and I'm going to have my thumb kind of hanging out here. All right? Oops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing and just kind of loosely go around my hand to make almost just like a mitten, just like that. I'm going to have this go off the page, and I'm going to have this go off the page eventually after I make the color. Up here, I am going to put my dog's ears, and I'm either going to make them pointy or floppy or however you might like to have them. So I just put two little triangles here, just like that. Now I'm going to draw my dog's nose, and I'm going to start by drawing kind of a half circle, and then it's almost like a backwards question mark, just like that. And eventually I'm going to color that whole thing in black or whatever color I want to use to color my dog's nose. Could be green. Who knows? Only your imagination. Now, one thing I really want you to focus on too is like, let's say you're drawing and you're like, oh, this didn't come out the way I wanted it to. I want you to just get that out of your mind and just make it into something, all right? That's a real challenge, okay? When we make a mistake with something, to try to make it into something else. So right below, or just in front of my dog's ears here, I am going to start making my dog's eye. I'm going to start with a circle, and you could just leave it as a circle, but I like to give a little almond around it, just like that. And there's my dog's eye, and there is the pupil. And I'm going to leave it a little glimmer. Now, I want to have my dog have some teeth, and you can make them as sharp and ferocious as you'd like for them to be. Now, instead of getting a treat this time, I'm going to have him catching a ball. I'll have that go here, and some little diamonds, and maybe a name tag. All right, I am going to create a horizon line. So that is the difference between the sky and the ground. I'm going to have some motion going on with my ball so that you know that it is moving. I could also put some spots on my dog if I wanted to, like that, but it's all up to you. How you want to color it afterwards, it's all you, friends. All right, let's go now to something you might think, oh great, we're going to make a turkey. Because that's usually what we see when we're going to create a Thanksgiving turkey card or something. This is what we do. Well, we're not making a turkey. So make sure your hands nicely spread apart and your thumb is far enough away from your pointer finger, which is this one. So I'm going to closely trace around my fingers. It's a little tickly, friends. Sometimes it's nice to have a grown-up with you while you're doing this so they can either hold the paper or so you can trace around their hand. It's just a nice thing, a nice person to have around. So I got right to the bottom of my pointer finger and I stopped. Now I'm going to go right to where my thumb starts and I'm going to draw on my thumb, just like that. So you can see I have this blank space here. What I'm going to do now is I am going to make a big pointy kind of triangle. And now you might be able to see what I'm creating. This, my friends, is a big old rooster. So now I'm going to finish the beak. Now you can kind of see it, right? Maybe I'm going to try to make this where my thumb was a little pointier. Now I'm going to make the comb, the thing on the top of his head. Now I'm going to make some feathers down here and have his head go off the page. I'm going to make a ginormous eyeball. And there's the glimmer. And I am going to end up coloring that whole thing black, but I'm not going to do that with you now. And here is the wattle. So now, again, I'm going to make a horizon line that shows my roosters really close to me. I could have his hens back here. I could have him saying, wake up! I can make the sun. It's all up to you how you want to color it and design it. So that is how you can create a rooster. Now, something close to a rooster, but it's not a rooster, is the next thing we're going to draw. So you can see how I'm holding my hand, all right? I have my first two fingers up, my thumb is tucked in and these other two fingers are tucked in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw real loose around those things. So like, unlike the rooster, when we had our hands spread out, we drew really close. With this, you can see I'm just drawing really loose all the way around. When I get to my wrist, I'm going to stop and I'm just going to connect the two things, the two lines. Then I'm going to draw a wing. Now maybe you can figure out what I'm creating. Up here, I am going to make a big triangle and a little triangle. And there's my chick's beak. Then I'm going to make an eyeball and another eyeball. And I'm going to fill that in, and I'm going to, of course, leave a glimmer. So these are really, you know, they look like animals, but really they are cartoon animals. For me, cartooning is difficult. I have not, I've been trying to kind of work on my cartooning a little bit. So it's kind of nice to give yourself a little challenge. Maybe cartooning isn't your thing either, but it's always good to challenge yourself. There's some feathers, and let's give him some feet so he can walk around. Now, right now, Chick is floating in space. So I'm going to give a horizon line. Maybe back here, what I'm going to do is draw a barn or something, a chicken coop that Chick can go into. All right. Maybe a sun up here, but I will continue to fill the page with some interesting ideas. And then think about how I want to color. When we were talking about the dog before, we use certain colors to emphasize things. Sometimes when we use all marker to color in everything, everything becomes so dark we can't see what we're trying to create. So that's why I use crayon in the background to make it a little bit more muted. And I use the Crayola marker or whatever other marker you might have in the spots that I really wanted to have emphasized. Okay, let us draw one of my favorites. So, one of my favorite animals, and you are going to maybe recognize this animal. I'm not sure. So I'm going to kind of give myself a thumbs up and I'm going to lay it down just like that. All right. And once again, I am going to kind of go around loosely. And I'm going to go real close to my thumb. When I get down here, I'm going to stop. Now, maybe you might know what this is going to be, but I am excited to tell you. So when I get here, what I'm going to do is make a smile. And you may have guessed it, you are creating Antonio Escargot. Now, not all of you have met Antonio, but he is one of our puppet friends. So now I'm going to make his eyeball and his other eyeball. And I am going to try to give him some little cartoon eyes again. And here's his mouth because he's so happy. Antonio's a pretty happy snail. All right, I'm just going to kind of work on his little slime foot thing. Like that. All right. And once again, I'm going to give a horizon line. Now, when I drew Antonio before, I put all this other stuff in. He's in my garden because he likes to eat my flowers. I've made some sun. I made some clouds. All right, and that's what I created. Now, the next one I'm going to show you, I like it so much because you can turn this into so many different things. All right, when I hold my hand like this, I could turn this into a cow. I could turn this into a llama. I could turn it into a giraffe. Or you can find or think about maybe something you would like to turn it into. But I am just drawing kind of loosely around the top. The fingers I drew kind of close with, all right? Now I'm just going to extend this down, just like that. All right, so what I'm going to draw is a giraffe. And I know that giraffes have these little knob things at the top of their head. I am going to create some ears. So there's one ear. And here's number 2 ear. I'm going to make some eyes right here. Just like that. And I do know that giraffes have pretty big eyelashes because I have seen them in the wild. All right, now I'm going to make the giraffe nose. And the giraffe nostrils. And the giraffe tongue. Have you ever seen a giraffe's tongue? It is so long to get all of those leaves. Now, one important thing I'm missing are the giraffe spots. So I'm just going to come around and I'm going to make some spots. Now, the way I've drawn this giraffe, it tells me that giraffe is very, very close to me. So back here, I have my horizon line, and I could draw other animals. I could draw another giraffe if I wanted to. It's however you want to create your background. All right, let's do one last one, and then we will call it quits. All right, here we go. So what we're going to be doing now is hang loose. So what I've done is I've turned my paper horizontal, all right? It's sitting like this. We've been drawing mostly vertical or portrait. Now we're drawing horizontal or landscape, all right? So I'm going to do my hang loose sign, all right? And it's going to look just like this. I'm going to stay pretty close to my finger, my pinky here. And then when I get to the top, I'm not trying to be super perfect, all right? Super close to my fingers. And then I'm drawing around my thumb, and I'm stopping just like that. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my dinosaur's legs. So there's a back leg, because this is its tail. And that is the leg on the other side. Because you know dinosaurs have 4 legs. There's the belly. Here's another dinosaur leg, and here's the one that's on the back side. This is my dinosaur's mouth. Now I kind of wish I would have not drawn that line, but I'm not going to freak out about it. I'm just going to kind of make it look like it's not there by giving him some teeth. There's my dinosaur's eye. All right. I'm going to kind of smooth this line out here a little because what I'm going to be adding is the back fin. All right? And these lines are going to be radiating out. We've used that word before. Radiating out from her back. All right? Now I'm going to put some little spots here on the tail. I'm going to put some bigger spots on the body. And some tiny spots on the head. All right. Now, friends, Dinosaur is floating in space, but I don't want him to, so I'm going to make a horizon line. And maybe what I'm going to do is make some big green vegetation, because my dinosaur is a herbivore, meaning an animal that just eats plants. So I'm just going to continue to do that and keep going. All right? So these are just a few of the many that you can create. I'm going to attach some other videos that you can look at and get some ideas from. You can always pause them and go step by step. Remember, sometimes you have to draw really close to your fingers, and sometimes you just have to just kind of draw loosely around them. All right? Remember, when you're coloring, to try to really emphasize areas, but also finish areas off that don't need to be emphasized with something a little bit more pale or muted. Okay? Have fun with this. I cannot wait to see what you create. These are just some ideas. You can always look at your hand and see what else you might be able to create. Like here is an elephant that I drew after I had my hand this way, and here's an elephant that I drew turning it that way. You can draw rabbits. You can draw alligators, all right? There's so many different things that you can try. So friends, have fun with this. Have an amazing day, and I will see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye.